My name is Lana and I'm a sophomore.
Take me back a year ago and tell me what happened.
It was over the summer. I was doing lots of soccer because I love soccer. So I was doing lots of it, and then my knee, below my knee, started to really hurt. And then my bone, like my actual calf, started to cramp up. And then there's days I'd wake up and I'd be like paralyzed from like the knee down in one leg. It was really uncomfortable. It was like the worst pain I probably ever had in my entire life. Probably it hurt more than when I fractured my arm. Like, it was excruciating pain. And we got an x-ray of my knee and there was nothing there. But it kept going on for like probably 4 weeks after that x-ray. So then they decided, let's get a whole leg x-ray. So then they saw, like, you could see on the x-ray the bone didn't look right. It had like white in it a lot, and I guess they didn't want to scare me, so they just said, oh, it's cartilage, we're just gonna get an MRI just to make sure. And so then we got an MRI, and I still had lots of pain in my leg after I'd run for soccer. And so then we got the MRI, and it showed there was like a tumor from here all the way down to my ankle. And yeah, it was pretty big. I was so beside myself, I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping. I couldn't do anything, I couldn't focus in school. That was probably the toughest, was when they said you have a tumor in your leg, because we didn't know if it was cancerous or not, but at first they thought it could be lymphoma or leukemia, and that really scared me because you hear all these stories and then it all comes flooding into your mind, like, you just don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
It was osteosarcoma after I got the biopsy. Yeah, so then I got surgery. I did have to do 6 rounds of chemo, and yeah, it was really crazy. You don't think that you could get cancer until you actually get it, you know? You think that only happens to people in the movies. Mm-hmm. That'll never happen to me, like, I'm normal, but then it does happen, and I still don't even believe it today. Like, often I just think, like, I was totally normal just a year ago, and then I'm here and I'm a totally different person.
Right.
I used to be afraid of everything. I had a lot of anxiety and just about everything. And then I remember this was the day that they told me I needed to get surgery just to see if this is cancerous or not. I kind of did like a self-evaluation. I was like, you can't, this is the moment where you need to be strong, because it's only going to get worse from here if you can't pull yourself together and do what they ask you to do. I went through 6 rounds of chemo, and they all required me to be in the hospital for 5 days, probably sometimes even more than that, depending on what I'm feeling. And I think that was torture in itself, just having to be there.
Yeah.
Every day.
One thing that really got you through, I remember, is the support from your sister, your friends.
Oh yeah, my friends would come every night and they would visit me in the hospital, and we had like our own room. No one else used this certain room, so we'd always go in there, and there's a bunch of other kids on the floor, so sometimes they would come with us if they were lonely or whatever and do whatever we were doing just so they could feel normal too.
I've seen the pictures. Did you call it the visit train?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just lifted your spirits when you needed it and gave you a sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't feel normal, but it was nice to have my friends, you know?
Yeah.
And have them catch me up a little bit on school, since I haven't been there in like a year.
Right.
So at first they told us that they wanted to amputate my leg. So then that's when we started frantically searching every single hospital for someone that would save the leg, a surgery. We went to Florida, Yale, Dana-Farber, everywhere, just to try to find the surgeon that will do it. And finally we went to Mass General in Boston, and they have, it's a really rare surgery. They don't do it that often, but it's a limb salvage surgery, where they take out your entire bone that was affected by the tumor, and then they take a donor bone, they put it inside, and then they take the muscle from the back of your leg and wrap it around the front of it just to prevent infection. So that's what we ended up choosing, because I think having my actual leg is better than having a prosthesis for my entire life. I've been recovering for a year now.
Yeah.
I'm still not done recovering from it. It's just, I had to PT every day, trying to get my knee to bend normally again, but it's still really stiff. And being in the hospital after the surgery, I was there for a week, and that was really painful, the surgery, and having just to get a cast and just function was hard. I can't play sports anymore, and that's really hard for me, because it's like if you do something your whole life and then suddenly you lose everything. Like, I lost everything last year. Everything I once had that was normal, it's all gone. So I think that's probably been the hardest about the surgery and about everything. I mean, I just finished my last round of chemo, and that was the worst chemo ever, because they gave you really nasty stuff. For 6 months I had to do it, and I just constantly felt sick, you know? So I was so happy to finally be done and have it happened perfectly, because I would have my whole summer off, like the way it was looking and the way I just finished chemo, and we were so happy. And I went for my first scans, and like I knew, I was like, oh, nothing's gonna be there, everything looks good. But then I got my bone scan, everything looked fine. But then I got my chest scan of my lungs, because osteosarcoma spreads to your lungs. That's where it goes next. And there was 3 tumors in my lungs, all pretty small, but they were there. So meaning we just did all this chemo and it came back. And
that must have been devastating.
It was devastating, because I thought I had my whole summer off, and then I was just looking forward to coming back to school, looking normal, feeling normal again, and then it comes back just a week after finishing chemo. You find that out, and I haven't been the same since. And then I had to get another surgery to remove those, a thoracotomy, and that was pretty painful surgery.
You've been through so much.
Yeah. I have to do another 6 rounds of chemo again, but so far they removed it, and I got my first chest scan since it came back, and there's nothing in my lungs. They're completely clear.
Good.
So that's good.
That's
so
great.
far, so good.
Tell somebody who doesn't know what the effects of chemo feel like. The effects of chemo feel awful.
Awful, yeah. It's like, I think it's undescribable unless you're actually going through it. It just feels like your body is somewhere else and your mind is in the hospital. Like, you feel separated from your own self. The chemo just makes you feel all these different things, and I mean, it's like poison. It's poison that you're getting, and it kills you, you know? You just sit there and you have to do it, but you just want to go home and be normal. And then you have to go through that, and everyone else gets to live their normal lives doing whatever they like to do.
It's hard to see.
Yeah. I can't really say there's been good days coming back to school. I mean, I was gone for a year, and you come back and you just hope people will, I don't know, just show that they actually missed you and that they cared. But when you come back and everyone acts like you don't exist, that's been the hardest part, I think. Pretending someone, not even making eye contact with me, or even just asking me how I'm doing, that hurts a lot more than saying something and not saying the wrong thing.
Right. So what do you want kids to know in terms of empathy? Because you can help them grow. You've gone through something that most people don't go through at your age. So what do you want them to know so that they can grow too?
I guess when someone goes through something like this, it helps if you make things normal, not try to ignore the fact that something happened. Like making eye contact with them, asking them how they're doing, just texting them once in a while. It makes a difference. It makes you feel like the days when I'm not in school, like I'm still a part of school, you know?
Yeah.
Like currently I just feel like an outsider in my own school, and it's hard to come here every day looking the way I look and
Yeah.
having everyone else just kind of go on with their normal lives like nothing ever happened. Because it's been really hard.
I think the advice to kids that say something rather than nothing, even if it's the wrong thing, it shows that you care.
Yeah.
I think, or maybe there is no wrong thing, you know, saying something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you envision a day when this is behind you? What do you so desperately hope is coming? A time when you're back to yourself again?
I really hope maybe by next year, I hope everything's back to normal again and that I have my hair and I just look like old me again. Because right now I feel like the old me is a totally different person, you know? Like, I always refer to my old self as just she, like as if I'm talking about a friend because I don't even know who I am anymore. I'm so different.
You know, my last question, I think, is what really keeps you going every day? Is it your friends like Lily? Is it your sisters joking and laughing? She's hilarious.
Yeah.
What is a real comfort to you every day?
Definitely my friends. They're the only people that have been there for me from start to finish, and I really love them. So they make me want to come to school.
Okay. You're an amazingly brave person, and I've so enjoyed getting to know you. You're amazing. And thank you for sharing your story.